Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. My name's Will. This is the With Me YouTube channel. Gotta hit you with that quick sales pitch. If you get to the end of this video, you enjoyed it, you like this type of content, you like the Ranger Raptor, you like the S650 Mustang, you like modification videos, think about hitting that subscribe button. It's totally free to subscribe. Just sends you a quick little notification. If you don't want to subscribe, a like is always appreciated as well. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into today's video. Obviously, like the title says, we are once again talking about my 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor. I've had this thing since August, the first week of August. It is currently November 11th, so it's like going into the second week of November here. So roughly, like, let's just call it 3.5 months I've had this thing, and in that short amount of time I've already put 10,000 miles on this vehicle. It's actually a little bit right under 10,000 miles, but by the time this video goes live, I can promise you it will have 10,000 miles. So I figured this would kind of be a good point just to make a video, go over any sort of weird little issues that I've been experiencing, if there are any, just kind of shoot the shit with you guys for a little bit. But yeah, like I've said, almost 10,000 miles on this thing. I'll turn you guys around, show you the truck. So here it is. Like I was saying, this is my 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor in shadow black. It's honestly pretty stock as of right now. Haven't really done all too much to it. Just tinted the windows, have a little three-fold tonneau cover on the rear. What else have we done? We did the grill marker lights right up here, switched those out. Those are the mustache ones. Those are really sweet. And then I just have an oil separator system on the inside. Been slowly collecting parts, and I have a bunch of parts actually in my garage, so I'm gonna try and keep that a little bit hidden to surprise you guys. But yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick walk around of my Ranger Raptor. Really, you know, if you've seen one Ranger Raptor, you more or less have seen all of them when it comes to them in stock form. But you know, this is mine, and do have the car seat at the back, as this is my daily driver and I have a toddler, so I get a lot of questions with leg room. And there you go, you can see right there, Ranger Raptor, plenty of leg room in the back. Can't really say the same about a bunch of other mid-sized trucks that compare, but yeah, the Ranger Raptor, there you go. Just a quick walk around of the exterior and the interior. But now we can start talking about the past 5,000 miles. If you haven't seen the first 5,000 mile video, I'll put a link to it right up here. Go check that one out. But yeah, like I said, I figured this would be a really good place to just kind of check in with you guys. All right, so let's get into it. And I just want to start out by saying that I still absolutely love this truck. I think this truck is an absolute awesome daily driver. I really do love the size of it. It's definitely smaller than, you know, trucks that I'm used to. My last truck, being a TRX, was absolutely massive. The last truck, or the truck prior to that one, was a Ram Rebel, so both full-size trucks. This has kind of been like my first daily driver mid-size truck, and I really was nervous and thought that, okay, maybe this is going to be a little bit too small. And even after like the first 5,000 miles, maybe it was still like in that honeymoon phase of owning a new vehicle. But even now at 10,000 miles into the ownership experience, I still absolutely love the truck. Now, do I wish that there was a little bit more room here and there, a little bit more storage? Of course, but I knew that going into it. And I will say, for anyone who is shopping for one of these, definitely do your homework. Try and find one at a dealership. Go check it out. You know, assess to see if the storage is going to fit all of your needs. And in my opinion, it definitely works for what I do for a living, and basically for, you know, what I need a truck for. It checks off all the boxes. Now, like I said, do I wish there was a little bit more room? Of course. But do I think that it's a game changer for me? Absolutely not. The truck with like the 400 horsepower, still an absolute blast to drive. It, like I said in my other video, it feels more kind of like a sporty rally car than it does a truck. And yeah, it has that Raptor pedigree, so I'm still absolutely loving it. I had someone in my last video just talking shit in the comments saying that, oh, I clearly had buyer's remorse because I didn't love every little single thing about my truck. And that's just, you know, unrealistic. If you love every single thing about the vehicle that you own, that's awesome for you. But I haven't owned a vehicle yet that has checked every single box of mine, so I'm just being 100% transparent. And don't get it twisted, just because I complain about one or two little small minute details doesn't mean that I have buyer's remorse. It's just me being real with you guys. And like I said, this truck, still absolutely love it. For the money, I don't think there's anything that can touch it. And performance wise, in the mid-size segment, I still think this blows all the competition away. So just wanted to get that out of the way up front at the beginning of the video. Do I have buyer's remorse? No. Would I buy this truck again? Absolutely. So like I said earlier, I've had this truck now for the past 3.5 months, and I have definitely put it through its paces with putting on almost 10,000 miles within those 3.5 months. So I drive this thing every single day. It is my daily driver. It's my work truck. I use this to go to job sites, to client visits, and everything in between, dropping off and picking up my daughter from school, grocery runs, everything. The Mustang is really just kind of like the weekend driver, and the GX is like the family hauler. So if we're going out as a family somewhere, we typically take the GX, but honestly, we've been using this quite a bit as well to give the GX a little bit of a breather. So we've definitely been driving the hell out of this thing, and I will say, although I do love it, there has been a few very small little issues with the truck. And I also do want to say that these issues are very, very like first world issues. It's more so just like kind of little electrical glitches is what I personally think. So we'll kind of just get into those really quick. So I made mention of this in my first vehicle, and honestly, it's still continuing to happen. It doesn't surprise me. If you've had any new Ford in the past few years, you already know what I'm about to say, and that's the whole CarPlay and all of that with the connection. It has been the same in my Bronco. It was the same in the Bronco that we got from my mom. It's been the same in my S650 Mustang up there, and no surprise, it's the exact same in the Ranger Raptor. It just has some connection issues sometimes, so when you sync your phone to it, it will randomly disconnect, or even though it's connected, like your maps won't show up, it won't play your music, it won't connect to any of the apps where you are, streaming it from your phone. And what you have to do is go up into like your settings, go to your phone list, disconnect it, then reconnect it, and then after that, it's all good to go. So like I said, it's really not a big issue. It's first world problems. Being like a Ford owner now and owning a few Fords over the past current years, it's no surprise. I think it's just something in the software with like the Ford Connect and the Apple CarPlay. And then second issue is something that wasn't occurring during the first 5,000 miles, but it's happened a few times in the past 5,000 miles, and that is with this whole infotainment system that just kind of freezes out. So sometimes randomly, when I'll be like listening to the music here, or I have my phone connected to it and I'm following, the navigation on there, it will just randomly completely freeze. And I won't be able to go in here and obviously change and push any of the buttons. Like, it doesn't beep or anything. It just completely glitches out. And I've seen a few other people comment in the Facebook groups saying that theirs does it as well. And like I said, it wasn't happening during the first 5,000 miles. This has just been in the prior 5,000 miles, and it's happened about 4 or 5 times. Not a big deal. Just put the car in park, shut it off, turn it back on, and it works perfectly fine. So again, don't think it's anything hardware related. I think it's just all in the software, and again, absolute first world problems here. So the next thing I wanted to touch on is in regards to the transmission. And sorry, I have like a crazy glare right now, but during the first 5,000 miles, I did take it pretty easy driving this thing. After the first oil change at 5,000 miles, I definitely did start driving this a little bit harder, way more spiritedly driving, and I would put it in sport mode a lot more often. And I will say, this isn't happening in any other mode other than when I put it in sport mode. The transmission just seems to be real jolty and jumpy as it's really looking like for those gears. And I know this is a 10-speed, so we get the 10R60 in the next gen Ranger Raptor, so this one right now. The prior generation Ranger Raptor, from what I saw in my research, actually had the 10R80, which is the same transmission that's in my Mustang and as well as in the F-150s and the F-150 Raptors. It's a stronger transmission, but the next gen Ranger Raptor, this one 2024 and up in the US, as well as the Broncos, we get the 10R60, but still a 10-speed, just a weaker 10-speed than the 10R80. And from my research, it seems to be a very common issue where the transmission just seems to try to find that correct gear that it needs to be in, and it just kind of seems a little bit jumpy and jolty. And I will say, when I'm, you know, romping on it, wide open throttle, it just, you know, it sits in that gear, it revs out great, it drives great, it'll hold the RPMs, you know, perfectly fine. It's more so when I'm just kind of normal driving it in that sport mode, it tends to like downshift a lot and then want to upshift and then it'll downshift again. It just seems to be kind of looking for that, you know, proper gearing it wants to be in. And yeah, it's not the case in my 10R80 and in my 10R80 Mustang, and it was never really the case in the Broncos either. I will say I didn't really drive the Broncos as hard as I drive this one. This obviously makes more power than the Bronco. It's also a 3.0 versus a 2.7 that I had in my Bronco, so maybe it has some different like shifting software and all that between the 3.0 and the 2.7. But I have a question for you guys. I haven't really looked into this all too much, but with the Ford ProCal tune, is there any sort of like transmission parameters that are adjusted as well with the tuning? I know like with my Mustang, since I have the Whipple on there, when you do the Whipple calibration, it also does mess with the transmission a little bit. So it'll, you know, hold those hold the gearing a little bit more. It'll rev out a little bit more, and it just kind of adjusts the shifts points a little bit more. So I was curious, does the Ford ProCal tune, you know, address with any sort of transmission parameters, anything like that? Because I haven't really looked into it yet, and if that's the case, maybe it's more of a selling point for me, and maybe for any of you other guys out there that have experienced like something similar to what I'm referring to. Maybe the ProCal tune is worth it after all, you know, spending that $700 to $1,000, getting that extra 50 horsepower, that extra 100 foot-pound-feet of torque, and then some better, you know, shift parameters as well. So yeah, comment down below, let me know if you have any insight on that, or if you are experiencing these issues, or better yet, if you are experiencing those issues and then you got the ProCal tune and it just kind of adjusted everything correctly. In regards to fuel economy, as you can see right there, 16.7 miles per gallon is what we're getting on this thing. Obviously that's like a lot of highway miles here. I'm typically getting around like high 300-ish miles per tank. So it's, I want to say like last time I filled up, it was like 370 mile range. So I don't really know if I am getting that, or if it's just kind of like an estimate there, but you know, roughly that's how many miles I'm getting with a full tank. And 16.7 average miles per gallon is a hell of a lot better than the 8 miles I was getting in my TRX. And another thing I do briefly want to touch on here is that there is an active recall right now on a few certain Ranger Raptors, and it's in regard to the side curtain airbags. Basically says that if you were to get into an accident, that the airbags could tear upon deployment or just not deploy at all. So if you are affected by that recall, they're saying come on in and they repair and install a few pieces that would, you know, mitigate that risk. I haven't done that yet. Do plan on doing it pretty soon. I am going to be taking this truck in for the 10,000 mile oil change. I did the first 5,000 myself, but I actually have a free oil change and I want to rotate the tire, so I'm going to let the dealer deal with it for the next time, and I'm sure they'll make mention of it, and if they have the parts in stock, I'll probably just go ahead and let them do it. But did want to comment on that as well, and I actually have a full dedicated video in the Ranger Raptor playlist if you want to go and check that out in a little bit more detail. Yeah, I do know it's only been 10,000 miles, but the interior does seem to be holding up pretty well. You do get like some wrinkles on the seats here. I think that's due to the fact that it's not perforated leather, it's smooth leather, and if you have a bony ass, you can get like an ass imprint, because on that side over there you don't see anything, but obviously where I'm seated all day, you have a little bit of wrinkles there. Do get a little bit of stainage on the 12 o'clock stripe up here, but you know, I work in construction, so my wife just got home, so had to make room in the driveway for the GX now. But yeah, as you can see, the exterior, it's pretty dirty right now, but everything's holding up pretty well. Tires, like I said, I haven't rotated them yet, but 10,000 miles on the KO3s. They're wearing pretty well, in my opinion. And here is a look at the rear tires as well. Like I said, they're all holding up pretty well. KO3s, really quiet on the road, drive really nice, no issues in like the rain. I'm in South Florida, so it literally rains like every single day, and we're in hurricane season, and I've had no issues whatsoever with the KO3s. And for those of you that have stayed this long into the video, here's a little sneak peek. Here's what we are going to be, well, here's one piece of the suspension that we are going to be installing. These are the Foot Motorsports 2.5-inch perch collars for the front. I do have something else that's coming to pair with these for the rear, as well as a few other things, so stay tuned for that. And then right over here is a good little hint as to what wheels might be going on the Ranger Raptor. Pretty baller fucking wheels. If you have any guess, comment down below. But yeah, you know, all in all, the Ranger Raptor, absolutely awesome truck. Really loving it. Don't really have any major like hate towards this truck. I don't regret my purchase at all. I think for the money, it's going to be very hard to beat any sort of brand new truck that you can go out and buy. You know, even in the mid-size like territory, 100% this is hands down the best. And even some of like those cheaper full-size trucks, you would probably want to cross shop that before jumping into a full-size truck as well. But as always, guys, really appreciate you hanging out with me today. Don't really have much more to go over. All in all, still really digging the truck. I love it. No regrets whatsoever. My name's Will. This is the Wimmy YouTube channel. Thanks for chilling with me today, and I'll see you all in the next one, everybody. Later.